Hello. Um, I'm in a good mood lately because I made some life changes. But anyways, I recently read this article that was about don't teach someone what to know, but teach them how to learn. And I don't know, this has been sticking with me. So I just wanted to talk about my path to feeling like I am whole enough and beautiful. When I was in my 20s, I really struggled with feeling like I'm enough, feeling like I'm beautiful, and I was a mystery to myself. And I think to myself all the time now. I'll see myself in the mirror, I'll check myself out, and I'll be like, wow, I'm so beautiful. And I could not have fathomed this years ago. No way. I flinch looking at myself in photos. I had a lot of crippling social anxiety. I also had just this question that I wasn't enough. I didn't know. And my own inner workings felt mysterious. I would actually describe it as enigmatic or mysterious to myself. I didn't really know. And I think it's not I figured it. It's not I know everything, but it's and it's not I'm perfect. It's not I'm the most insane, most beautiful woman in the world, but it's just I've reached some baseline reservoir of feeling good. I'm always growing, and also I'm good, and I can return to that, and that's really nice. And that was honestly a big struggle for a lot of my 20s, and I think getting to a point of self-love is actually one of it should be considered a life milestone, getting your first job or something. This is a thing to reach. And yeah, and so I'm just gonna talk about how I learned it, and instead of being oh, here's all these frameworks or whatnot, because I think, I don't know, maybe it'll help other people figuring out for themselves what works. And yeah, I'm just gonna share it. So yeah, I'll just talk to my journey, but there's sort of a combination of things. I would say one of the big things I did in college was I started to notice patterns. So I started a 1 line a day journal, and this journal had January 1st, 2012, January 1st, 2013, January 1st, 2014, January 1st, 2015. This was January 1st page. Then the next page was January 2nd with all 4 years. And you could flip through it and get through every single day of the year for 4 years. And I kept this up because it was just 1 line a day. And even if I was drunk, I could scribble just a scribble on the page for that day. And I would skip days, and I was fine with that. But I did just keep it up. And one of the main things I noticed is that I had patterns. And I was damn, every summer I get into a certain mindset, and I get into a certain situation, and then every fall I have certain emotions, and I struggle with certain things. And every time I go to this particular part of campus, I fall victim to this kind of behavior. Every time I hang out with this kind of person, I do these kinds of things. And so I saw these patterns in myself, and I was oh my god, every year I was doing this, every summer I was doing this, every fall. Because of the way that journal was laid out, it was really easy for me to see. And that led to me noticing the beginnings of the patterns, which was the triggers. And when I noticed like, oh, when I do this, when I go here, when I am up late, this happens. Like that helped me a lot because I identified my triggers for certain behaviors that I didn't really want to continue. And once I identified those triggers, I like changed them. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna stay up late, or I'm not gonna buy certain things. I'm not going to hang out with certain people. Like, and that led to, it was great. Like that was really helpful for changing my behavior, and like changing, like also changing my context was really helpful. But anyways, that got me out of a lot of trouble. I also, like, another thing I did was, I'm trying to think about how I learned. Once I found a tool that worked for me, which was not just journaling, but like, for example, internal family systems really resonated with me, like at like a deep level. The first thing I did was my therapist took me through like a guided meditation that was really simple, and I can record one next time. And so there was like a practice, and then I was hooked, and I bought like a bunch of, I bought the book No Bad Parts, and I read all of that. And then I did the exercises. So the exercises included mapping all your parts, and I drew these little illustrations, and I gave them little characters and names and like taglines and props. And I sort of developed this world, and I was mapping out a higher fidelity like view of my own internal emotional states and like thought patterns and ways of existence. And it was really fascinating. And once I did that, I went down like a rabbit hole, right? I found people who talked about this on Twitter, and I went on Twitter and I followed them and I joined the conversation. And then it was really fascinating for me to talk with people. Like, so then I talked with people about like, wow, this is what I'm experiencing, and like finding people who were experiencing similar things was really helpful. I read like Sasha Chapin's article on deep okayness, and at the same time, because I had previously identified triggers for certain behaviors I didn't want, I had removed like unhealthy habits, and so it actually made me feel better about myself. And then I found, because I was talking with people, then I found people to have a book club with on another book I wanted to read on internal family systems, and that social support, like scaffolding, started to come into play, and that started to lead to like even more like easy exploration of this space. There was also just like, I would go on YouTube and I would look up like things I wanted to learn. And there were things I really didn't like about myself, but I would like Reddit, like how do I like style my clothing, or like, you know, like how do I be less socially anxious. And there is like some skills, like everything is learnable, and for some reason this wasn't completely clear to me. Anything is learnable. Like at one point I was like, how do I, someone was saying like something about charisma, and I was like, I just Googled that, and like any gap you perceive can be seen as a skill, and just Googled or Reddit it or YouTubed. And like the difference between having never done that versus having done that once or twice, like the skills and advice you pick up on the internet will probably take you to like 70%, whereas other people who haven't done that just won't have any like tips or like orientation around this matter. Oh, I made like an audit of like all the things about myself that I don't know, just like all of these vector axes that I was like wanted to take a look at. And then I identified certain things I want to improve. And so like I was doing all of this sort of like external work alongside reading and mapping my parts and talking to like certain parts of me that had certain frictions, and developing trust with each of these parts. And for me it really feels like combining the internal like internal trust building, relationship building, and internal clarifying of what is showing up, with combine that with like all of this external work of just like building skills, like building competency in my job. Like these things, all of that came together really well and helped me get to a place where it's like night and day. I like just can drop in at any point and feel almost like a hug from the universe. And like I feel held, like I feel like I hold myself. And it just used to be like unimaginable for that to be part of my daily like relationship to myself. And yeah, I think that's just the point of this video, in case someone watching is like struggling with that. It like can change, and like my former self would have like felt like so hopeless. So yeah, like it's insane, but it can happen. So yeah, see you guys.